You may take over the shop. All I require is money. Although I lack the funds, I possess something of greater worth. I am willing to offer my daughter's hand in marriage as payment. Please, do not subject me to this. Have you ever experienced the sensation that the world is conspiring against you? That even those who should love you the most are the ones betraying you? This is the tale of Amara, a girl who is treated like an insignificant object by her own father, only to uncover a secret that reverberated throughout the world. If you believe your life is challenging, wait until you learn about Amara's experiences. Amara was a girl with a kind heart and a smile that resembled the morning sun. However, her heart was shattered due to the recent death of her mother. Amara informed her father, Mr. Okafo, that he too would soon be served a similar fate. But, as it turned out, she was mistaken. Merely 2 weeks after her mother's funeral, her father introduced a new woman into their home. Her name was Madame Good. Madame Good did not arrive alone. She brought her own daughter, Ada, with her. Ada was nearly the same age as Amara, yet she was indolent and unkind. From this day forward, this is your new mother, Mr. Okafo declared, not even glancing into Amara's eyes. He had been seeing Madame in secret, even while Amara's mother was still alive. The dynamics in the household shifted dramatically. Madame and her daughter occupied the larger beds, donned fine clothing, and enjoyed the meat in the soup. Amara, take those undergarments I left there. Ensure you wash them thoroughly. I do not wish to see any stains on them, Madame would command. Sitting under the fan, Amara, you lazy girl, go to the market at once. Madame Good would shout while indulging in fried fish. One day, Amara found herself weeping behind the kitchen. Her father passed by and she pleaded, Father, please. I am exhausted. My hands are sore and my body aches. Kindly ask Madame Good to allow me some rest. Her father looked at her, but did not embrace her or offer assistance. You are a strong girl, Amara. Just comply with her demands. I do not want any trouble in my house, he replied before walking away. Amara came to the painful realization that her father no longer loved her. His affections were solely directed towards his new wife. A few days later, a young man named Obi arrived in the village. He was dressed in a shirt stained with oil and worn-out trousers. Obi was a mechanic who owned a small workshop in the village. Previously, he had repaired Mr. Opaf's old car, but he had ceased doing so because there were not many customers in the village. Many residents were moving to the big city in search of better opportunities, prompting him to consider selling his mechanic shop and tools. He approached Mr. Arcampa's house to inquire if he would be interested in purchasing the mechanic shop. Madame Good, Amara's stepmother, who was already aware of the shop, smiled greedily. Each day, she whispered to Amara's father about the shop, but Amara's father had no money left. He had exhausted all his savings on Madame Good and was deeply in debt. I want your shop, Madame Good stated. But we have no money to pay you, Obi replied. He glanced at the house and noticed Amara outside, struggling to lift a large log of wood. Despite her dusty face, she remained strikingly beautiful. Obi felt a tug at his heart. I do not desire your money, Obi said softly. What I seek is a wife to accompany me to the city. Give me that girl, and the shop is yours. Madame Good laughed dismissively, not taking the matter seriously. Take her. She is of no use anyway. All she does is eat and cry. Amara's father hesitated for a moment, but ultimately accepted the offer, taking the money for the shop. It is a deal, he declared. Take her away. Amara fell to her knees, grasping her father's legs. Father, please do not sell me like a goat. I am your daughter. This man is a stranger. He is poor. I will suffer. Her father pushed her hands away. He has paid for you with his shop. You belong to him now. Go and gather your belongings. Ada, her stepsister, emerged and mocked her. Goodbye, village wife. Enjoy your life with your filthy mechanic. Amara had nothing to pack. She only wore the old clothes on her back. She followed Obi out of the compound, tears streaming down her face, blurring her vision of the road. She glanced back at her home, realizing that no one cared. They all wore smiles on their faces. Not a single farewell was exchanged. Alma gazed at Oben, who walked ahead of her with a small bag in hand. He remained silent. I feel as though my father despises me. My stepmother loathes me. And now, I find myself married to a man who possesses nothing. The bus heading to the city was extremely packed. Amara sat by the window, tears streaming down her cheeks, her sadness evident to Oben. Although he did not speak, he offered her a small bottle of water. Amara accepted it, yet her sorrow rendered her unable to express her gratitude. Upon their arrival in the bustling city, the sun was setting. The noise was overwhelming, with countless cars and towering buildings. However, Oben did not pause at the grand houses. Instead, he guided Amara down a dim, narrow path. At the path's end stood a house constructed of aged wood and rusted iron sheets. The door was broken, and the windows were devoid of glass. This is my home, Obi stated. Amara stepped inside. The floor was merely cold cement. There was only one small pot for cooking and an old foam mattress on the floor for sleeping. There was no electricity, just a solitary candle. Amara sat on the floor, covering her face as memories of her mother flooded her mind. She recalled how her father had traded her for a shop, a mere common shop. She felt as though her life had come to an end. I know this is not a palace, he said softly, kneeling beside her. I am just a mechanic. I work diligently, but the pay is minimal. However, I assure you, Amara, you will not be a servant here. You will not fetch water for anyone. You will not be harmed. He stepped outside and returned with a small loaf of bread and an egg. He cooked the egg and offered Amara everything to eat. Eat, he urged. You haven't had anything since morning. Amara looked at him, questioning. What will you eat, Obi? I am not hungry, he replied. Yet, Amara heard his stomach growling loudly. He was not being truthful. He wanted her to have the only food he possessed. For the first time, Amara felt a flicker of warmth. Despite his poverty, Obi was kind. He was more compassionate than her father. For the following weeks, they lived in this manner, with each morning spent at a small garage repairing cars. Snorts, he will return home with grease on his face and a few naira notes. They will purchase a small cup of Gardashare. Wubi did his utmost. He bought Amara a plastic comb for her hair. He also acquired a second-hand pair of slippers for her. He treated her like a precious gem despite their financial struggles. However, one day, the rain fell heavily. The roof of their old house began to leak. Their only foam was drenched with water. That night, they had no money to buy food. Amran gazed at Obi, who was shivering in the corner. A profound pain filled her heart. Obi, she said, I cannot remain here and watch you suffer for my sake. I must find a job. I will assist you. Kubi shook his head. No. The city is too perilous for a girl like you. You could get hurt. I do not wish for that. I will be cautious, Amara assured him. I overheard the neighbor discussing a lady in need of a cook. I will visit her tomorrow. Perhaps she will employ me. The following morning, Amara obtained the lady's address from the neighbor and set out. She walked for an extended period until she arrived at a location with large gates and towering trees. She discovered the residence of the lady. The house was painted white and was so large that Amara's eyes widened in astonishment. The owner of the house was a young woman named Cynthia. Cynthia was exceptionally beautiful, yet she was also very haughty. She lounged by the swimming pool adorned with expensive gold jewelry, sipping her juice. Can you cook? Cynthia inquired, scrutinizing Amara's old dress with a disdainful expression. Yes, madam. I can cook very well, Amara replied, her gaze fixed on the floor. Cynthia employed Amara as her personal cook. Each day, Amara toiled diligently. She prepared delectable soups and tidied the expansive kitchen. Cynthia compensated her generously. For the first time, Amara was able to purchase quality food for Obi. They experienced joy together, even in their lack of material possessions. One chilly night, Obi inched closer to Amara. He yearned to hold her and kiss her desperately, yet he was apprehensive. Amara sensed the tension as she too moved closer to Obi. That night, they shared their first kiss and even made love. Their connection deepened. One evening, Obi arrived at the gate of the grand mansion to pick up Amar. He was dressed in his mechanic attire, with black oil staining his hands. Cynthia was behind the wheel of her car. She gazed at Obi's face. Despite his dirty appearance, Obi was strikingly handsome, with broad shoulders. Cynthia's heart raced. She had never encountered a man like him before. Shortly after, Amara emerged and embraced Obi. Cynthia observed them before driving away. The following day, Cynthia inquired about the man she had seen at the gate with Amara. "Oh, that's my husband, madam," Amara replied with a smile. Cynthia returned the smile, saying, "Oh, I see. He's quite attractive, you know." "Thank you, madam," Amara responded. From that moment on, Cynthia became infatuated. She began to ask numerous questions about Kubi. She even requested Amara to bring Obi to her house to repair her car's generator. When Obi arrived, Cynthia wore her most expensive and alluring outfit. She positioned herself close to him and smiled, saying, "You possess remarkable skills with your hands. Why remain with this impoverished girl in a dilapidated house? I can offer you a better life." Obi did not meet her gaze. "I have a wife. I love her. Madam, I do not require your money." Cynthia was furious. She was accustomed to obtaining everything she desired. That afternoon, she summoned Amar to the living room and tossed a thick bundle of cash onto the table. It was more money than Amara had ever seen in her life. "Take this money, Amara," Cynthia instructed. "Leave your husband and return to the village. I want him. A man like that should not go hungry. I can elevate him to royalty. If you truly love him, you will let him go so he can prosper." Amara stared at the money, then at Cynthia, her eyes brimming with tears. Cynthia laughed, saying, "He deserves better than a village girl like you. He should be with a queen." Amara felt a sharp pain in her chest but remained silent. She continued to gaze at the substantial sum of money on the table. She contemplated their leaking roof. She reflected on Obi's shoes, which had holes in them. She thought of her father, who sold her out of greed. "Madam," Amara said, her voice trembling, "you believe that money can purchase everything. You assume that because I am a village girl, I am unaware of what love truly is." Cynthia reclined and smiled. "Love is reserved for those who have food in their stomachs. Amara, observe your hands. They are calloused from scrubbing my floors. Look at your husband. He is exhausted because he is striving so hard to provide for you. Do not be selfish. Accept the money and leave." Amla picked up the bundle of cash. Cynthia's eyes gleamed with triumph. However, Amla approached Cynthia and tossed the money back at her feet. "My husband is not for sale. Do I not see my family? We may be financially poor, but we are rich in peace. I will not abandon him." Amma turned and dashed out of the large house. She ran all the way to the small, dilapidated house where Obi awaited her. She embraced him and wept. She refrained from mentioning the money, as she did not want him to feel disheartened. Yet Cynthia was not done. She was a woman who despised losing. She picked up her phone and called the owner of the garage where Obi was employed. "Fire that mechanic named Obi today," she ordered. "If you do not, I will ensure your business is shut down." The following morning, when Obi arrived at work, his boss informed him that he had to leave. "I am sorry, Obi. A powerful individual wants you gone. I cannot assist you." Obi returned home without any money. "Amara, I have lost my job. We have no funds for rent. The landlord has stated that we must vacate by tomorrow." Amara grasped his hand. "It is all right, Obi. We will find a solution. God will not abandon us." Times were exceedingly tough for Amara and Obi. They had no money and were nearly living on the streets. One day, Chief Williams summoned Obi to repair his car. Obi used to service the chief's vehicle every weekend. Chief Williams appreciated Obi because he was very honest and worked diligently. That day, Chief Williams handed Obi an envelope. "Obi, my family is hosting a grand celebration this evening." The chief remarked, "I would like you and your lovely wife to attend. You are a commendable man." Obi expressed his gratitude and brought the invitation home. Amaran felt anxious. Obi, we lack elegant attire. People will mock us. Do not fret, Amara. Obi reassured her, his eyes shining with an unusual light. Simply wear your cleanest dress. Who knows, I may secure a job, dear. You might also find employment. The celebration was held at the most luxurious hotel in the city. There were diamonds, gold, and affluent individuals everywhere. Sincha was present as well, appearing regal. When Amar and Obi entered, the room fell silent. Guests began to point and murmur. Alma was dressed in a modest cotton dress. Obi wore an old shirt that was neatly pressed. Cynthia noticed them, and her face flushed with anger. Amara, please take a seat here. I will return shortly, Obi stated. Cynthia approached the seat where Amara was seated. Wait, who allowed a beggar to enter? This is a gathering for billionaires, not for a village girl like you. I wish to avoid conflict, Amara replied. She struggled to withstand Cynthia's provocations. However, Cynthia persisted. You are selfish. If you genuinely care for your husband, you would allow him to leave so he can be cared for, and you would also receive the money you have always desired. I heard your father traded you for a common mechanic, Cynthia said with a malicious grin. Amana was devastated. There was only one person who could divulge such secrets to Cynthia, and that was her husband. This revelation led Cynthia to question her marriage to Obi, wondering if he truly loved her or if he intended to sell her as her father had done. She stormed off angrily, ready to leave the celebration. Just then, the MC announced the arrival of Chief Williams. Thank you all for accepting this invitation. The purpose of this gathering is to introduce you to my son, Dr. Frank, who has spent nearly his entire life abroad. It is time for me to retire and allow my son to take over from where I leave off, Mr. Williams declared. Then the MC announced the arrival of Dr. Frank. Everyone was shocked. It was Obi. He was dressed in the most luxurious suit anyone had ever seen. His skin appeared immaculate. His hair was styled to perfection. Amar could hardly believe her eyes. Was she in a dream? Obi approached Amara, knelt before her, and expressed his apologies for deceiving her about his status. I understand that our marriage was not conducted in the traditional manner. I wish to make amends. All the years of hardship and tears. I want to treat you like the queen you truly are. Will you marry me? Wilby said could not conceal her tears. It felt as though she were in a film where a poor girl ends up with a wealthy man. Yet this was her reality. She extended her hands and replied affirmatively. Everyone rejoiced for them. Cynthia arrived to offer her congratulations. Amara was taken aback. Was this not the same individual who had been unkind to her just moments ago? Amara, meet my younger sister, Cynthia. She was the one I intended to use to test you. Everything that transpired from the very beginning, including your discovery of the job, was all part of my scheme. I merely wanted to ascertain whether you genuinely love me or if you are merely interested in my wealth. That is why I had to feign being a poor man. After the grand celebration, Obi escorted Amara to a house that resembled a dream. It featured coding kids, a garden brimming with fragrant flowers, and floors crafted from gleaming white stones. This is our home now. Amara Hubie stated that he provided her with a room filled with exquisite dresses, shoes that sparkled like diamonds, and jewelry that glowed in the dark. Amara had a bathtub that produced bubbles and a bed so plush it felt like resting on a cloud. She had servants who prepared her delectable meals and referred to her as queen. However, Amara did not smile for 3 days. She refrained from speaking to Obi and remained in her room. Eventually, Ubi approached her. Amara, why are you feeling down? I have given you everything. Amara gazed at him with tears in her eyes. You deceived me, Obi. You witnessed my tears every night due to our lack of food. You observed my relentless efforts in Cynthia's household, akin to a slave. You witnessed my heart shatter. Yet you harbored a significant secret. Did you perceive me as my father? Did you believe my only desire was your wealth? I will hold her hands.
No, Amara.
I am aware of the truth. I needed to discover one individual in this world who would love me for who I am, even if I were a beggar. I apologize for the anguish I inflicted upon you. I ask for your forgiveness. Amara gazed into his eyes. She understood that he acted to safeguard their future. She embraced him and murmured, "I forgive you, Obi." A few weeks later, news spread throughout the village. Everyone was discussing Amara, the girl who had been sold to a mechanic and had now become the wealthiest woman in the city. Amara's father, Madame Gold, and Ada were taken aback. "We must go to the city," Marangit exclaimed. "She is my daughter. She must provide us with financial support. We are suffering in this village." They sold everything they owned in the village merely to purchase bus tickets. Upon arriving at the mansion's gate, they appeared dusty and famished. "Open the gates," my father shouted at the guard. "I am the father of the queen. This is my in-law's residence." The grand golden gate remained closed. A small window in the gate opened, and the gatesman peered out. "The queen states she does not recognize you," he said coldly. "She claims she has no family, and you all should return to where you came from." However, Madame Gold and Ada were already arguing, blaming one another for their mistreatment of Amara. The security guards forcefully pushed them into the streets. They had no funds to return home. They became beggars on the streets, pleading for money to return to the village. Inside the mansion, Amara sat on a golden chair by the pool. Dressed in a stunning lace gown, she caressed her baby bump, picked up a piece of sweet fruit, and smiled at Obi. Amara was no longer a slave. She was no longer a village girl. She had transformed into a queen who discovered true love amidst turmoil. Here are the 3 lessons I wish for you to derive from this narrative. Firstly, never assess an individual based on their attire or profession. A man dressed in rags today may become a king tomorrow. What truly matters is the heart, not the wealth. Secondly, when you trade your loved ones for financial gain, you are jeopardizing your own future. Money is transient, but family and love endure eternally. Thirdly, if you aspire to share a throne with a king, you must also be prepared to sit on the ground with him when he is in need. True love is about remaining steadfast during difficult times, not just in moments of ease. Thank you sincerely for engaging with this remarkable story. If you appreciate content like this, kindly like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.